All right. It is a great day in South Florida. My name is Chris Igoe. Welcome to Living in South Florida. Today's video is all about the top 4 reasons that homes don't sell in this housing market. And additionally, what you can do as a buyer or a seller to benefit from these market conditions. So if learning more about that is your thing, then please stick around until the end, because I will include a buyer and seller guide link that you can elect to choose and learn more about that. And if you are out of my market and need help and want a referral from someone that we know, like, and trust, there'll be a link for that too. So no matter where you are, we've got your back, whether you're choosing to buy or sell, if it's right for you in today's market. All right, so let's get started. Boom! Boom, we're live. All right, so today is July 7th, and I am going to try not to hit the vehicle behind me and avert an accident. But away we go. All right, so what's happening today in the market, I think, is relevant as a relevant starting point before I go into the 4 reasons why homes don't sell, because it's important to understand the market conditions that exist out here in Boynton Beach and in South Florida. And be aware that market conditions are hyper-local and they change from market to market and place to place. So what I'm experiencing here in Boynton Beach may be very different than what you're experiencing wherever you might be. And there are markets that are going to have very different, that have very different conditions, right? So let's talk about the reason I'm doing this video, first and foremost, is I talk to so many potential sellers, and then so many home sellers that feel as if their agent has failed them because they listed their home, they didn't get what they wanted, and now they're unhappy because they believe that they are at the height of the real estate market. It is the craziest it's ever been, and they should get top dollar for their home, come hell or high water, because their neighbor did. And that just is not the market that we're in right now. So if you are thinking about selling and you think that the market conditions today are the exact same as what they were 6 months ago, I got news for you. That's not the case. Now, that's not to say it's not a seller's market, because it is. And homes that we've listed and done what we do in any market condition creates a market within a market so that you get what you want. But a lot of that might not make any sense if you're not in the business and don't do this on a day-to-day basis. So to give you some context, in 2008, when the market was arguably at its worst, there were 9,000 homes for sale, ballpark figure, right? In 2019, which is what I think we are going to return to in terms of market dynamics, there were 4,000 homes that were available on the market for sale. Well, in May of 2022, which again is not a current number, this is a lagging number. This is last month. And I can promise you that these numbers have changed and they've upticked. Well, in May, there were 1,200 homes for sale. That is still significantly less than the 4,000 that were available in 2019. And so there is so much information that is available for you to consume on YouTube, and a lot of it, not all, but a lot of it, is essentially, to me, a heaping dumpster fire of bad information. And I hope I don't contribute to that, or I hope you don't feel that I'm contributing to that, because I'm not. I'm telling you the truth that exists right now in today's market as I see it from a boots on the ground operator who is helping clients buy their dream home and helping clients sell and get the most money possible in this market. So I hope that makes sense. And all right, so let's just dive into it here. So what's the first reason that a home does not sell in this market is price. Period. End of story. If you are out there and you are overpricing your home, or you have an opinion that your home should be X amount of dollars because it is unique, special, and different than the home that's sold comparable to it in your market, then I got news for you. It's not going to sell, period. And what's different about today's market than the very recent past is that there are more choices. And so buyers who a few months ago did not have other options and were competing aggressively to ensure that they got their contract accepted would do whatever it took in order to get that home under contract. And that's not happening today in today's market. Obviously a lot of things have changed. Mortgage rates have changed. They've increased. That has diminished the buyer pool. Now, South Palm Beach County is insulated, in my opinion, because most of the people who want to be here have money. And I don't know where they got it from, whether they sold a property or they've saved for a long time, or they just have high incomes and great credit, but they have the ability to purchase what they want. And people who want to be here in South Florida, in South Palm Beach County, have the ability to do what they want and get what they want. And so in the past, recently, when those buyers were shopping, there were also 50 other buyers who were shopping, and the rates were far less than they are today. So there was a much bigger pool of people who were out there waiving appraisals, paying over market price, competing with the 50 other contracts, or in some cases more, that were out there competing for the home. Well, that is a much reduced buyer pool. And separate to that, with listings that we've taken in my market here in South Palm Beach County and also in North Lauderdale, which is Broward, when we underprice the home intentionally, we get multiple offers that bid the price higher. So if you are working with a professional who understands the market and the temperature of the market, they're going to be able to help you navigate how to price the home the right way. Now, if you think that you have a lottery ticket and this is an appreciating stock in a bull market, it's not. It's just not. So you must be, you've got to be reality based, and you have to work with the real estate professional who can help you navigate whatever your market conditions are. Go, buddy. You can go. All right, you can go. So price is the number one reason why homes don't sell. And there are 90,000 agents in my market between Broward and Palm Beach. And of those 90,000 agents, and when I say agents, I use the term loosely because passing your real estate test is not a very high bar to jump over. So of those 90,000, only 1,000, or maybe it's 2,000, but for the benefit of this argument, let's just say it's 1,000. There's only 1,000 that do 10 deals or more a year. Now, if those price points are $1 million, then great, you're doing well for yourself, or you're doing okay. Most of them aren't. So most of those agents are barely able to feed themselves. And if you're not selling 10 houses or more a year, then you're probably in the wrong business. There are so many agents that are part-time or half-assed, and they don't know how to advocate with the truth, that they let their clients dictate whatever price they want it to be. And that's a mistake, because they're not going to get what they want. And they're going to waste everybody's time and skew what the market numbers actually look like. So yes, there are lots of price reductions that are happening in the market today, far more than there were in the past. A lot of that, I think, is due to agents that don't know what they're doing and letting their clients lead the process, which is always a mistake. So price is the number one objection, or is the number one reason why homes don't sell. Second to that is condition. The condition of your home in the past did not mean as much, because buyers wanted what they wanted and they wanted it immediately. And they knew, because most of these buyers were, they lost. You know, they submitted multiple contracts and they kept getting their teeth kicked in and they kept losing and they weren't getting their dream home under contract. And condition of the home was, it just wasn't as important as it is today. So in the past, you may have had an outdated property, and you may have had some conditional issues that were completely overlooked because buyers wanted what they wanted and they wanted it now. So that worked in the past. Today, you have a more discerning, more patient, more prudent shopper who knows that, especially if they're working with an actual real estate professional, they know they have other options. So they are not going to settle for a home that is not in its best condition. So again, if, you know, in the recent past, if there was a conditional issue, it was overlooked. Today it's not. So if you are choosing to sell your home, there are lots of things that you can do that don't cost a fortune for you to maximize and optimize the condition and the curb appeal of the property. You didn't have to do that so much, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. Today you have to. It's non-negotiable. It must be in its best condition. And if you're working with a real estate professional who knows what they're doing, they're going to help you navigate that process, because your house is a product, it's for sale, and now there are other products for sale that it's competing with, and you have to put your best foot forward. All right, so we talked about price, we talked about condition. Now let's talk about location. Well, location is the famous saying as it relates to real estate, but in the not so distant past, location didn't mean as much. So if you had a home in a subdivision or in a community that backed up to a road or a highway, that was overlooked. And today it's not overlooked the same way because there are more choices. And so you need to be aware of that, because shoppers have choices and they're being more prudent, they're being more discerning, and they've got choices. So location is a key factor. Now, obviously, if you're new to the area and you're not familiar with South Florida and you want to learn about the communities that exist out here, please opt in for my relocation guide, because it's going to tell you everything that you want to know about every city in South Florida. There are certain areas that have better school systems. There's pros and cons of every neighborhood. There are markets within markets. And if you are curious about them, please reach out, because I can help you navigate that process. And I work with a team of all-stars that can also help serve and support you at the highest level. All right, so we talked about price. We talked about condition. We talked about location. Well, the fourth reason why a home doesn't sell is marketing. And this to me is, I laugh. I talked about the 90,000 agents and only 1,000 do 10 deals or more. Well, I have seen some of the worst marketing that I've ever seen in my real estate career in the last few years. And it used to be when you had a more normalized market. So back in 2019, or back in a balanced market. So let's talk about, before I go into marketing, let's talk about what a balanced market looks like. A balanced market is something like 5 months of inventory. A buyer's market is 6 months of inventory. Well, right now we've got 1.2 months of inventory. So it's still a seller's market, but that was like 0.2 months a month ago or 2 months ago. And so homes that were listed for sale in the MLS, I saw cell phone pictures on properties. I saw 1 or 2 pictures of those homes. They were dark. They were not appealing. They were horrible marketing. And the pictures are just the first step. There's a whole lot more that goes into it. But nonetheless, those homes were selling, and marketing was kind of irrelevant. If you put something out on the market, it sold instantly. Well, that's not happening today. Today, we're starting to see those homes that are not marketed the right way, they don't sell. They sit on the market. Now, that being said, We just recently represented a buyer who went under contract, and I think the price point was right around 600,000. Single family home here in Boynton, and that property had multiple price reductions. It had sat on the market for 60 days, and I knew there were no other. I knew the other agent, number one, but I also knew there were no other offers. And so when we presented our offer, which was not at market or at their list price, they came back to us and and so they said they wanted $10,000 more. So let me just talk accurately here. So, and I'm probably off by a little bit, but if the house was 600,000, I think we were at 570, and they came back with the seller wants 580. Now I know they need to sell, but I also knew we were negotiating against ourselves. There are no other contracts. So we told them, take it or leave it, because we're going to take them to see 5 other houses just like theirs, and they're going to buy one today. So what do you want to do? And of course, sure enough, they accepted our contract. But today, as a buyer, you've got options. You can go out there and negotiate. And some of the financing, which was looked down upon a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, like FHA, like VA, like low down payment financing, that was not good enough for sellers. Well, today sellers are accepting whatever they can, because at the end of the day, they just want to get paid. They want out, and they want on to their next adventure and the next chapter of their lives. They want closure. So we're seeing that. So as a buyer, you've got options. As a seller, so do you. And not everybody seems to know that. So now first and foremost, and let me actually go a little bit deep here into to numbers, because I talked about the misinformation out there. There is so much BS data that is being thrown out there by different channels. All types of YouTubers have opinions and have some incredible channels that have just blown up and captured a massive audience, and they've got clickbaity titles all over the place, but they're taking data and they're misapplying it, which is really the easiest thing to do. As a stockbroker, when I was I was a stockbroker for 18 years, there was a analyst, and it was I'm pretty sure it was Stansberry Research, and this guy went out there with doomsday scenarios constantly. For 20 years I watched this. It was always the end of the world. It was always the sky is falling. It's always going doom and gloom and this, that, and the other. And this is when newsletters were popular. But nonetheless, this guy built a massive tribe of subscribers and made himself a fortune by putting out information that it's the end of the world. Financially, it's the end of the world. Now, don't be confused. I know that the economy is changing. I know that market dynamics are changing, and I am not blind to that. I share about that often. But also be aware that if you are inclined to believe those things and are getting confirmation bias by somebody telling you what you want to hear anyway, chances are you're not going to go do the research and do a deep dive as to whether what he's saying is true. And of course, I'm referencing Reventure Consulting. But they're putting out content that is just simply data misapplied, at least in my market. I don't know how it is in their market or other markets, but I can tell you for certain right now, this is what the market looks like. So if you're a seller, you need to be aware that in May 20, and I'm going to do a year-over-year comparison, and then I'll go deeper than that. But right now in today's market, if you're selling your home, you need to know what the market dynamics are. You need to know how hot it is in your market. You need to know what the comparables are. You need to be aware of how to create a market within your hyper-local market so that you get all of the attention. In the past, and I'll use an analogy. Back a few months ago, every girl was getting asked to dance. And today, the ugly girls aren't getting asked to dance as much. And that's the same analogy with houses. If your house is not the most beautiful house, priced the most beautiful way, you don't get to dance, period. And, it's musical chairs. I don't know if that's but there's not a whole lot there's not so many. Well, there's more chairs. I think I've got lost in the sauce here. I don't know if that makes any sense. Well, just know that the ugly girls aren't getting aren't dancing as much today. But as far as numbers go, right? So the average sales price in May 2021 is 465 here in Boynton. In 2022, again, year over year, month comparison, the average sales price is 609. It's up 31% year over year. And the month supply went from 0.9 to 1.2 months. So it's a 33% increase, but it's still a seller's market. So if you price your home the right way, what we're experiencing on the listings that we've taken is we're getting multiple offers that bid the price higher. People have money who are shopping here and they're executing transactions. That's what's happening. So if you're looking at if you're terrified about this data that you're seeing in other channels or bad information that you're taking in wherever you're getting it from, just know you're not getting the real information that exists in this market, period. So as far as new listings, because, there's supply going everywhere. Well, okay. Last year, May 2021, there were 239 new listings. This year, and again, this is a month off, I know that. So the numbers that are going to go out in June, or excuse me, we're in July, sorry. The June numbers will be repeated the June numbers will be published in July, and I can promise you they're going to be higher than what they were in May. But as far as what it was year over year, we went to 258. So there's an 8% increase in new listings. Again, still a seller's market. In July, the numbers are going to be higher. Still a seller's market. If you do all the things and address those 4 things that I talked about why your home doesn't sell. All right, now South Palm Beach overall. Let's talk about what those numbers are. And by South Palm Beach, I'm talking about Delray Beach, Boynton Beach, Boca Raton, right? Primarily. So the average sales price in 2021 was $920. In 2022, for the first time in a long time, that number downticked. It went to $876. It's down 5%, but that is a mass range encompassing many, many different markets. I can promise you that the average sales price is not a 5% decrease everywhere, and it certainly isn't in the markets that I cover. But speaking of, and I may be getting a little bit out of context here, I've talked about leading indicators, lagging indicators. All the things I'm talking about now are lagging indicators. They're a month old or more. Leading indicators are things that I can look at right now, which give me an idea as to the current state of the market, right? Well, GL Homes, who is the predominant new construction builder that's here in Boynton, in Boca, in Delray, and other places. They're in Loxahatchee, which they are trying to call Wellington, but that's a different story altogether. Nonetheless, I look to see what new construction and new builds are doing. Are they offering incentives? And the answer is they haven't been. In fact, in Lotus Palm, they've increased the sales price by $100,000 relative to what they did in Lotus. Okay, so they're increasing the sales price, which tells me that they, I think they're smarter than me. I hope they are. I hope they're doing more research than I am. But nonetheless, they believe that the demand is such that it will be absorbed. I agree with them. Now, full disclosure, we happen to have an off-market property in Boca Bridges, which is near completion, that if you want to learn more about and get an off-market deal, we can make that happen. So if that's something you're interested in, then please reach out. It is a sick home, and I've highlighted it a little bit in other videos, which will also be linked here. But back to new construction. That is, to me, a leading indicator as to what's happening. Well, they are currently, right now, as we speak, trying to negotiate with the city to rezone some areas so they can build even more communities. So they're not slowing their building. They're actually trying to increase their building. Well, they're not going to do that if they think that the market has shifted and demand isn't there. But they're aware of their market. We're talking about Boca Raton. There is no more land to develop. Conversely, they also have a new build out in Arden, out in Loxahatchee, which I told you they're trying to rezone as Wellington, or reclassify as Wellington. But I can promise you it's Loxahatchee. It's not Wellington. It sure doesn't feel that way, at least. Nonetheless, it's the first time, yesterday was the first time I got something from GL where they're offering an incentive in a different market. So again, not Boca, not Delray, not Boynton, but Loxahatchee. Well, I know that demand will dry up in places. We talked about location. That location, it's a great community. Don't get me wrong. It's up and coming. It's going to be fantastic. Why? There's more land. They can build new, there's a lot of room for them to build out new communities like Westlake. But what they're doing is, for the first time, they're now offering an incentive. It's not really an incentive. So to me, it seems more like a return to normal, more like a return to 2019, when they were offering incentives like this in the same community. It was a different builder. But nonetheless, you can get a $7,500 credit towards closing costs if you use their lender. Well, let me be very clear. If you use their lender, I promise you, they are making up for that $7,500 on the back end, which is why you never want to use the builder's sales team or financing when buying a home, because they will they will exploit and maximize the profit that they can make by disguising it as a $7,500 sales credit if you use their lender. But I can also tell you, back in 2019, when they were doing those things, they were also offering a higher commission to realtors. And you're going to start to see these things happen in certain markets. I don't think it's going to happen Boca. Why? Because it's Boca. There is no more land. It's not going to happen in Delray. Why? There is no more land. It's not going to happen in Boynton. Why? There is no more land. But in Loxahatchee, yeah, they can play that game. And that's what's going to happen across the board in other places. So if you're even thinking about buying or selling, moving to or moving in South Florida, you've got to give me a call, text, DM, send a carrier pigeon, a smoke signal, by any means necessary, because we've got your back when it comes to moving to or living in South Florida. Now, if you will, please check out this video, which will be up here or up here, because I think you're going to love it a lot. Thanks for watching.